What's going on, everybody? Jason here. I got a special video I'm going to make. For those of you that don't know, I've been playing guitar for about 20 years and haven't had a guitar in about 6 years. Just what with family and all, haven't done much with it. So I wanted to start playing again. I picked up one of these Fender Squiers off of Craigslist, got the amp and the guitar stand and the gig bag and all that stuff. Really, really good price. A lot of people talk smack about these Fender Squiers. I don't know why. It plays great. I think it's a good guitar. But I wanted to customize it. A lot of plastic parts on here, a little bit cheesy, so I wanted to go ahead and make myself a new pickguard, some custom knobs. I think these knobs are for a 5-year-old. You know, they have numbers on it. Don't really need that. So, went to a woodcraft store. I picked up, it's a really thin piece of plywood. I'll show this later. It worked. I don't know what happened. Got some water on it. I sprayed it with water. I got some granite blocks on it, trying to flatten it back out. So I'm just going to let that sit for a while. But I'm going to make the pickguard out of that thin plywood. And then I've got some curly orange maple block. I'm going to make some knobs out of there. And I kind of I'm just going to use the bare wood color and oil it. I want it to kind of match the neck color. Kind of give it a little bit more classy look, a little bit more expensive instead of having this white cheap plastic. Try to make it look like there's some wood hardware, make it look really cool. I also picked up a small can of black spray paint. The pickguard and the knobs and the selector knob is all going to be wood, which will leave these white pickup covers. So I'm going to paint those black to match the body. I'm going to sand them really lightly and spray paint them. That should work okay. So I've been doing a lot of research on how to customize properly. There's not too many videos out there on how to make a custom pickguard. And the ones that I've seen, these guys are using some pretty high-tech pro tools, which I don't have. So for any of you guys that are looking to do something like this, hopefully this video will help you out. I've never done this before, so this is going to be a learning experience as I go along. And I only have a few basic tools like you guys have seen, a couple drill presses, my 1x30 sander, little bench grinder. So I'm just going to be using just the tools in my shop. So I'm going to get started. First thing I'm going to do is take everything apart. I just put brand new strings on here and I don't want to cut them. So I'm going to take the back. I'm also going to be putting a wooden back on it too, because there's another white piece of plastic. I'm going to make that wood. So I got to take that off. I'm going to loosen the strings and take the bridge off. And once that's off, then we can start dismantling everything. And so that's the first thing we're going to do. And I'll probably start making the knobs first, because that plywood may take a while to dry, to straighten back out before I can even make the pickguard. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to start taking this apart and go from there. Okay, I got most of the screws and hardware taken off. I got the bridge taken off. I guess I could have just taken the neck off, but I got the neck set exactly where I wanted it, so I didn't want to mess it up. So I just took the bridge off. All the screws on just holding the pickguard are out. Take the knob off the selector switch and the knobs off. You just kind of pull them up. Sometimes it can be hard. Now all of this other stuff is connected. I'm not sure how much of this will come out, so if you've never done this before, you might want to take this off and look underneath. Everything will pretty much unscrew and just fall out the back, but if you're not familiar with it, take a look and make sure you're familiar and where the pieces are going to go back. I'm just going to unscrew all these, and the pickups will fall out the bottom. You're going to have to use a little socket to undo the knobs, and then we'll go from there. Okay guys, I got the guitar taken apart. Make sure if you do this, you keep everything as organized as you possibly can. The whole reason for taking it apart was to get this, the pickguard, and now it's off. Can't use it yet. This is the piece of wood I'm going to use, and it's still a little warped. So this may actually change, but I'm going to use this wood for the knobs. Kind of matches the neck a little bit. Try to stay as organized as you can, especially with Tic Tacs and spray paint. You know, keep your knobs. There's a tuning knobs, selector knob, not tuning, volume knobs. This is everything for the bridge, the 3 springs and the screws. These are for the volume knobs. Pickup covers with the springs and screws. These are all the screws for the pick guard, and there's the back. And so try to keep everything organized. You definitely don't want to mix anything up or lose any of it, because that would really make it worse. Alright, first off guys, change of plans. I'm going to try to do the knobs out of this piece of oak I purchased. I actually used this to make a small hawk handle, tomahawk. But since this is already round, I'm going to cut it, make some knobs. It's practically the exact same size as the original Fender knobs. I'm gonna cut them in, and just try to use this first. You're going to use my drill press as a lathe and try to sand them out real good and see how that looks first. And if they look good, maybe I'll just use this because it's already round. So I'm gonna try this. And in case you guys are wondering why I'm just using this wood, it's more of a test. I want the wood color, but if it comes out great, good. If not, then I didn't really lose a whole lot of money. I spent 10 bucks on that wood. I didn't want to buy any expensive material. So it's kind of more of a test, but if it looks good, then great. And we'll just go from there. Alright guys, I've got the knobs somewhat shaped, sanded down a little bit. They're not perfect. What I did was I drilled a couple of holes the same size as this 3/16. I believe this is a stainless steel pin used for making knives. Well, I'm going to jam it in here, stick it in my drill press and turn it, use it as my lathe to make these really nice and round, make them perfect. The holes, I believe, are a little bit smaller than this, so I will have to drill these out a little bit more to make them fit. But that's fine for now. This will work as a lathe, and I'll be able to get these nice and round, get them all the same size. Hey guys, alright, I got the knobs drilled and sanded and shaped, and as you can see, they are all 3 different sizes. Completely an accident. At least it's in sequence, and maybe they won't look so bad. But I drilled the appropriate hole, did a little 1/2-inch countersink. Hopefully that'll go around the nut a little bit and help it sit a little bit flatter. But not bad. Let's see if I can get these closer. You guys can see them. I'm going to hand sand them a little bit. There's a few little burn marks on here from the sandpaper, but the sticking the metal pin in here and using this as a lathe on the drill press actually worked really good. Okay, first time I've done it. It's not spectacular, but I think the wood will look a lot better than the cheesy plastic. And I'm going to oil these with some tung oil also. And okay, so those are pretty much done. I'm just gonna hand sand them and then I'll oil them. I already test fit. They do slip on the metal posts on the guitar. These will work. So I'm just gonna hand sand them a little bit and then oil them, and then we're gonna start on the pickguard. Hey guys, instead of doing the pickguard right now, I'm gonna go ahead and paint these. I actually should have done that first so these would have time to dry. I'm going to sand these with a very, very fine grit so the paint will stick to them, and then we will paint them. time for the pickguard. This board is still a little warped, as you can see. Hopefully that won't matter too much. The screws will hold it down. Hopefully. And so first off, I'm just going to trace this around and then mark in all the drill holes. I would like to hold this down with something, but I don't have anything. So I'm just going to start tracing this and mark every hole, and then we'll start cutting it out. Okay, so I got a pretty good outline of it, a trace around it. I'm going to take my circular saw and cut off as much as I can on the outside, and then I'll take it to my 1x30 sander and take off as much as I can around the edges, drill the holes. I'm going to have to drill some big 1/2-inch holes here and kind of route those out, but I think it'll look good. Alright, so I got the rough shape sanded out just using my cylinder sanders and my 1x30. Let's see if I can get a... Pretty dang close. It's actually just slightly bigger, which is fine. I'm going to go over and hand sand it, the edges. But for right now, I actually forgot I got to do the back of the guitar too, so I'm going to start drilling out all these holes, and then I'll do the back guard for the back of the guitar where the springs are. Forgot I have to do that one. Alright everybody, I got all the holes drilled, at least all the small ones. I'm going to go ahead and use my cylinder sander, clean up this, and then we'll sand the top of it and clean up some of this crap, but it seems to be working pretty good. Alright guys, did as much as I could. Can't finish this right now. Burned up my last little cylinder sander. I gotta go to the store and get another one. But it routed out those pretty nice. I got all the holes drilled. For the selector switch, I drilled 2 holes. I'm going to take a razor blade and see if I can cut that out to get a nice straight line. Also, for all the holes, where's the regular pickguard? This pickguard, all the holes are recessed. Looks like for the pickups, looks like every single little one is recessed. I'm going to try to do that. Just get a bigger drill bit and try to countersink these, recess them a little bit. Alright, so it's the next day. I have finished the pickguard. Here's the original white one. Here's the wood one. This is all done. It's all sanded. Sanded all the edges. Bought some more of those little tiny cylinder Dremel sanders and cleaned out the pickup holes real nice. I also went ahead and did the back plate, which I didn't show. It's pretty much the same thing. I just put the old back plate on the wood, traced around it, cut it out, sanded it, all that. Obviously I don't have a drill bit that will make that type of hole, so I just drilled round holes, but that should work okay. So one thing I'm going to do before I'm going to oil these, just like I did. I went ahead and oiled the knobs, which came out pretty nice using the tongue oil. And there's a little spot on here where you can see the, I did a little bit of oil to test it. I'm not sure if you can see that. Before I do that, I'm going to do something else while I have this taken apart, and I'm going to add some extra shielding in here. The original pickguard has some shielding under the tuning knobs, which provides ground, I guess. There's a wire that goes from the back of the guitar where the bridge connects and comes through here. It connects to the tuning knobs, which I'm assuming grounds it. So I'm gonna put a bunch of this foil tape all over the back and in here, try to connect it all, and it's supposed to reduce any type of buzzing or excess noise coming through your amplifier. So I'm gonna try that, see how that works. It may not work out too well. I haven't done that before either. I'm not gonna show that, I'll show it when I'm done. So anyway, I got this at the hardware store. It's a small roll. What's the length of this? 2 inches by 10 yards, 30 feet. It's like $4. So I'm gonna try this out and I'll show you when it's all done. So I did the shielding on the pickup guard, and I'll show you the guitar shielding I did when I put it back together. For now, I'm just gonna time to put some oil on these, and I would suggest use a towel, don't use paper towels. Paper towels tend to leave a bunch of lint or whatnot. I'm gonna do the knobs again too. Alright, here we go. We're gonna make a mess here. Alright guys, there's the pick guard and the back plate all oiled, and I oiled the knobs again. One thing I noticed, once I oiled it, it really got the stripe. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. You can barely see this dark line inside where one of the plies is darker, which really brought out some color. This really looks a lot better than I thought it was going to. Very nice. This is going to look really cool. So I just oiled it. I'm going to let it dry. I got to go out and run some errands. I might do a second coat, I'm not sure. But here's the guitar with the inside shielding. Hopefully this will help. I put some of the shielding on the outside coming up over, so when the pick guard comes on top it'll touch it. Hopefully that'll help the grounding system. We'll find out. But yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I love it. That's gonna look really good. Oh, and I probably never mentioned, this wood I used is birch. It's birch plywood. I mean, it's not the greatest wood, it's not the hardest. It's, like I said, this was more of an experiment. It's definitely coming out nice, but how long will it last? I don't know. Oh well. It's gonna look good though. Alright, next we will, I think that's just about it. Next we'll put her back together and I'll show you the finished product. Alrighty guys, there she is, put back together. And I think I love this thing. This came out a lot better than I thought it was going to. Still on the fence about the knobs, but they are pretty cool. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm trying to zoom in. Man, I like it. I like it a lot. And there's the back. There's the back piece of wood, the back plate on it. I'm trying to get out of the light there. So yeah, that wood, that matches the neck very, very nice. Very, very nice. I like it. That looks way better than the white plastic. That just made this guitar look like it's worth over 200 instead of 100. So let's go plug it in, jam out a little bit.